Hey everyone, this is Seth Keeping It Real. Do you ever feel stuck in your Amazon business? You're trying to move forward, but for some reason you can't make that next decision that you need to make. For example, I got 50 awesome products that I found and I just don't know how to pick which one. They all seem so good. There's pros and cons with every single one. Or maybe you're in this situation where you're working with a supplier, you've been working with them for weeks, you're about to purchase your first purchase, and suddenly they do something that really makes you question their integrity. And you wonder, should I be sending $2,000, $3,000 to someone on the other side of the world who I've never met before and who now is doing something questionable? Does this mean I have to start over with a completely different supplier? Or maybe you have a product and you know what product you want to source, but you're looking at it and thinking, I have 379 ways I can differentiate this product, and they're all awesome. How in the world do I prioritize and pick which one to go with? Or maybe you're just overly inundated with information. Your head feels like it's going to explode. There's so much data out there, so many people telling you do this or do that or don't do this. How do I know which one is right? How do I know which decision to make? And then a question comes up or a comment you see and you wonder, does that apply to me now or is that in the future? How about this one? I'm afraid to fail. I'm just plain scared that I may not make it. What if I spend all this money and it doesn't turn out to be a good product and it doesn't sell? And I've just spent time and money and it's wasted. I have really good news for you today. Number one, if this is how you feel, you are normal. Every entrepreneur goes through this process. Number two, there are 3 steps you can take to get out of it. Now let me qualify these first by saying if you're an entrepreneur, being in chaos is very normal. In fact, you need to become comfortable with chaos. You will never feel like you have everything down exactly the way you like it, all your ducks in a row. If you need that kind of life, you got to work for someone else because they can provide you that security. Because I tell you what, the owners of that company, they never feel like they have all their ducks in a row. And the idea that you're going to get everything under control and everything organized and systemized and automated the way you want it to be, it's a dream, but it's not true. It's not ever going to come true. You're always going to grow in that. You're always going to get better. But part of being an entrepreneur is the chaos. And I think deep down inside, many of us entrepreneurs, we don't even know it sometimes, or maybe we're just not 100% honest about it, but we are attracted to the chaos. There's something about the risk and the reward and all the options that come out that draws us in. And so if this is you, that's okay. Become comfortable with chaos. Understand it's a part of your life. It's part of the cost, and you have to count the cost. That's part of the cost of being an entrepreneur, is things are going to be crazy, and it's going to be hard, and things will never be 100% under your control. However, there are very specific 3 steps I have found that have helped me a ton when I feel stuck. I want to share those with you today. Number 1, remind yourself of why you started an Amazon business in the first place. Now, I'm not talking about your long-term goals. Well, I want to go to the beach with my family. I want to be able to take my spouse around the world. I want to travel the world. I'm going to give to charity. I'm not talking about those goals. I'm talking about the more immediate business. Why did you start an Amazon business? And this even asks a bigger question. What is the purpose of a company? Is it good customer service? I will never forget AT&T back in the days when we used to only buy cell phones that were on contracts, and I would call them up and you would think the phone menu was created to torture a human being. And then when you finally get someone on the phone, I could only understand every third word. It was so frustrating. The customer service was absolutely horrible. The funny thing is AT&T is still going. They were acquired by another company, but still under the name AT&T, and they've acquired many other companies along the way. They're still going. If customer service is the goal of a company, how come AT&T has still made it, even though their customer service, at least in the past day, haven't talked to them for a while, completely sucked? Or maybe the purpose of your company is to add more jobs. Sounds very progressive, sounds very economically sensitive. Or maybe the purpose of your company is to have the best quality products in the whole world, better than anyone. That's just so a funny thing because I know Amazon sellers selling pretty crappy products and still making millions. How does that work? How are people selling complete crap and yet they're still making money? Maybe it's capturing market share. This one sounds very financially savvy and smart, but you see, these are not the goal. There really is one ultimate goal of a company, and it's going to sound very greedy, and it's going to sound extremely non-giving back, but it's still true. The number one goal of a company is to make money, because if you don't make money, you can't do all these other things. What good is customer service if you don't have money? If you don't have money, you won't exist to give that customer service. How can you offer a quality product if you're not making money? If you're not making money, you will have no money to build that quality product. You see, if you want to give back and help organizations and people who were born with less than you have, how are you going to do that broke? How are you going to do that with a company filing for bankruptcy? The goal of your Amazon business is to make money. In fact, if you don't make money, how will you create the margin to do the things you love with the people you love? I love what Eliyahu M. Goldratt said in his book, The Goal. He said, an action that moves us toward making money is productive. An action that takes us away from making money is non-productive. You can measure every single action in your day with the simple question, is this action ultimately going to help me make more money? If it's not, I'm wasting my time. And what will happen is it will help you to streamline your goals because we all only have so many hours in the day. And you will focus on the few things that should be done versus the many things that could be done. There's always some nice things to work on, some cool ideas, but you have to narrow your focus down to the things that are ultimately going to help you sell on Amazon, are going to help you stand out from the competition, provide the customer service so that people come back and buy, so that your account health is high, so that you have a ton of reviews on your product, and as a result, you make money. So you need to ask this question again, what is the number one purpose of your company? It is to make money. If you don't make money, all these other things don't work. Now, I know some of us grew up in a background where we were taught that being rich is evil or sinful or ungodly. That simply is not true. The love of money can lead to great evil. But money itself is a tool. It is a means to an end. I would rather be a wealthy person helping people than a broke person helping people. Who do you think can help people more? If I can help fund people to go out and help people, and I myself have the margin to do that without having bounce paychecks, that provides me a much more rich, and I'm not referring to money, full, meaningful life in a way that gives back. You see how that works? So this idea that having a lot of money is evil, I grew up as a kid thinking rich people, they cheat, they're liars, they're wrong, they're scum. The more I grow, the more rich people I meet, the more I realize they're some of the most self-disciplined, amazing, incredible, loving people I've ever met. In fact, a lot of brokenness financially is a result of a lack of self-discipline, a lack of character, impulsive living. And, some people in religious circles will call it faith, when it's really not faith, it's stupidity. And I'm not saying poor people are dumb, that's not my point. But not managing finances well is not faith. It's stupidity. What really needs to happen is we need to be smart with our money, invest it, use it well, so we can not only create margin for ourselves, but for other people as well. It is just a tool. Look, if you're in love with money, yeah, you might have a hard life ahead. But if you're in love with succeeding and doing well, so you can live the life you intended to live, now that is awesome. It's meaningful, and it goes all the way from the heart. Number 2, accept that you will make mistakes, and you will be treated unfairly along the way. If you have a sense of entitlement where the world owes me a living, you won't make it as an entrepreneur. If you have the idea that you were served a deck of cards and not all the cards were in that deck, and therefore it's not fair, and how could the world treat you this way? And if you think and focus on that, I'm not minimizing that unfair things happen to you. They do. They happen to me. The longer I live, the more I find some people will cheat me, some people will try to screw me over, some people will try to take my money, some people try to take advantage of me. People right and left will do this, and it happens. But over time, you learn how to handle those people and how to sniff them out and realize who has good intentions and who doesn't. And you become more guarded but wise. So the world is not out to get you, but some people are, and they will treat you unfairly. And if you can't handle that, you need to go back and get a job and work for an employer who hopefully treats you somewhat fairly. The funny thing is I had more people treat me unfairly working for a company, one of the best companies in the world, than I have being an entrepreneur. I've had closer friendships, better relationships, more amazing people, because it's like you're both taking a risk and you're trying to help each other out. The supplier and myself, or the business partner and myself, or the person I'm coaching and myself. Our goals, we both have risks, therefore we understand that. Why would we want to screw each other over? Now there are some people out there and some companies who will do exactly that. They will screw you over, they will take your money, they will cheat you, they will lie to your face. That will happen. And you have to accept this. It's going to happen. When my youngest daughter was really little, she had this idea that the world was just, rainbows and happiness and flowers and everyone was so nice. And my wife and I had to teach her, look, not everyone out there is a saint. There are some dark people out there and you have to be wise. You don't have to be a jerk to be wise. You can actually treat people humbly and kindly, but you also can have a strong will and wisdom and a filter to keep people from taking advantage of you as much as is humanly possible. You're not going to do everything perfectly, and if you cannot accept this, you're not cut out to be an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs are going to get the best and the worst, and this is part of the cost. So you have to count the cost. Is this something I'm willing to do? Am I really willing to go with this? And if you are, then you can succeed. When I worked as an employee for Apple and FedEx and Xerox at various times in my life, I was haunted with this constant awareness that I'm supposed to not mess up. I was supposed to stay between these lines and be a good employee. And the problem is this held me back from taking healthy risks. And as a result, I did not succeed nearly as much as I could have if I had broken out of that. But if I broke out of that, I would have been fired. There's this culture that was created where you need to make sure you're operating within these very carefully drawn boundaries, and if you don't, it's over. We have boundaries in our own group for our warriors, people on the Just One Dime team. We have to have boundaries, of course. But if the boundaries start to kill innovation, that's where it becomes a problem. And this is what happened at the companies that I worked for. Listen, every founder of every company had to take risks and mess up along the way. If you work for a company right now, I guarantee you the owners, the founders, messed up along the way. It's a part of what happens when you start a company. Carlson and Wilson, the founders of Xerox, they messed up. Fred Smith, the CEO of FedEx Kinko's and FedEx, he also messed up. Steve Jobs, he was anything but this perfect saint. He made a ton of mistakes along the way. And if any of these people had refused to allow themselves to take risks that allowed them to mess up, these companies would not even exist today. It's a part of being an entrepreneur. So I want you to stop thinking like an employee and start thinking like a boss. There's a mountain that has to be climbed. And it doesn't matter if it's blizzard or beautiful outside. It doesn't matter if it's hot or cold or a perfect day. You are going to conquer the mountain, and you accept that you're going to get beat up along the way. And here's the joy. Here's what makes the people who will treat you or the people who will mistreat you or be unfair to you worth it. You know you're growing stronger and wiser on the inside. You're learning life and you're getting better. So when I go through that, I imagine myself, I'm in the boxing ring and I'm getting hit. But I'm getting hit is teaching me how to block better, how to move quicker, how to work out harder so I'm ready for the ring again. That's what it's like in my mind, and that helps me to have a perspective that stays optimistic instead of, oh, the whole world sucks and I'm never going to make it. You know, some people have this attitude like, oh, I got screwed over by suppliers, so it's over. Like, get out of it. Just grow up. Sometimes I want to scream, grow up! Because if you don't grow up and handle these issues like a mature person, you're not going to be an entrepreneur. Quit blaming the world and focus on what you can do to make a difference. The people who focus on what they can't do, the downers, the negatives, the dream killers, they never get anywhere. In fact, their dream, I think, is to feed off of negativity. But it's no wonder they're always poor and always broke, never make it. You, in your mind, can choose to be different. There's a third step to getting unstuck. And this one is by far the most tangible. Use the right side of your brain to connect with people, but use the left side of your brain to make business decisions. Now, this is very, very important. I have a friend who works out at the gym, and this guy is the most social person I've ever met. If you're within 10 feet of him, doesn't matter if you've never met him before, he will talk to you. He'll get you laughing. He'll get you comfortable talking back to him, and you feel like you've been his friend forever. He has this amazing ability to connect with people. Now, that's a great gift when you're dealing with customers, when you're talking to suppliers, when you're making business partnerships, and dealing with people. It's called emotional intelligence. In the last 15 years, this has been given greater emphasis in the world, and it's extremely important for succeeding as a businessman or woman. However, there's another side, and that is the business decisions where you just take the facts, the data, and you let those drive what you do. So what you need to do next time you have to make a decision and you're looking at all these products and you're trying to decide which one should I go with, let the facts drive you. Let the facts determine the decision. I created a chart. I shared this with my team as well. This chart, and I put it up here on the whiteboard to show it to you. Imagine you have 3 products and you're trying to decide which product should I source. And you really like this one, but the evidence for it is a little less. The evidence for its potential. There's another one you like okay, but it's got awesome opportunity. And then there's this one. Huge demand, but the competition is very strong and you don't know if it's worth the risk. And you're really stuck. You don't know which product to pick. What you need to do is let the facts determine your decision and become emotionally detached as much as possible. Even if you feel bothered going with that product, this is where the facts have to be king. Now let me show you. What I did is I took all the most important traits of a potential product: search volume, Google Trends, daily sales, number of competitors, median reviews, profit, and differentiability. My friend Dan Rogers came up with that term and I absolutely love it. We're going to add it to the dictionary. We're going to make sure no Webster puts it in there. Differentiability. How much can I differentiate my product? Now, if you just look at the first one, search volume, what that means is how many searches does it get a month? So what I did is I created a chart. If it gets anywhere from 5 to 10,000 searches a month, it gets 1 point. If it gets anywhere from 10 to 15,000 searches a month, it gets 2 points, and so forth. The idea of this chart is it tells you what is valuable and what isn't. You're letting the facts determine what to do. Now, the one thing that this board does not show you, and I created a spreadsheet tool. In fact, if you click on the landing page, the link below, I will send it to you. Just click on the link below. You'll put in your name and email, just your first name is all you need, and it'll automatically send you this spreadsheet tool. Here's the thing where people get confused. Daily sales is the number one most important factor when determining the potential of a product, in my opinion. It's more important than search volume. And I'm talking about global search volume on Google, DuckDuckGo, Bing, those kinds of places. Search volume has some value, but not as great as daily sales. Now, if it's search volume on Amazon, that's awesome. And that's something you can get after you start selling it. You can get much more accurate numbers for that. But for now, the weighting of daily sales, you need, if these are high and this is high, daily sales needs to give you a higher score than search volume. Let me explain. The way I made this work is each piece of data gets a grade. It gets a number of points based on what the data says. So for example, if my search volume is between 5 and 10,000, it'll get 1 point. But if my search volume is 20,000 and up, it'll get 4 points. And after I've added up all the points for each of the 3 products we're trying to determine, the one with the highest points wins. The one with the highest points we choose. The difference is each of these has a different weight. So a point for search volume is weaker than a point for daily sales. Therefore, the chart I created gives you weighting. In other words, when you look at daily sales, it gives you maybe 4 points, whereas search volume might only give you 1 point. In other words, it has to have more impact on your decision. Now, again, a lot of this is going to be based on a combination of very top sellers, including myself on Amazon. This is put together. You might have a different view on some of these, and that's fine. This isn't supposed to be black and white, absolute, okay? This is just simply a guide to help de-risk you as much as possible. But the way I created the chart is as you go through and put in the numbers, it automatically calculates over here how much weight you should give that product, which makes picking a product way, way easier. Now, I'll just give you a quick overview, and if you want the tool, it's free. Just click on the link below and I'll send it to you. But really quick, I'm going to start at the bottom because this one's the hardest. Differentiability. How do you determine the points you would give differentiability? Let's say product A has really high opportunity to make it different than the competitors, so it stands out, but product B has medium opportunity and product C has low opportunity. So each of them gets a point based on that. So this is the most subjective. You're going to have to look at the negative reviews of the competitors and figure out how can I make my product better. And then when you type in either high, medium, or low, it'll give you points over here on the right. This is very important, very powerful, but also is much more subjective. Profit, however, is a little more objective. This is focused on the subjective. This is more focused on the object. It's a little more easy to measure. And again, at this stage, when you're just researching, you're not going to know the profit yet until you talk to suppliers. So the weighting is going to be less than daily sales or number of competitors. But again, you look at the profit. If it's between $1 and $5, it might get 1 point. If the profit is $16 and up, you might get 4 points. You give it points based on its profit potential. The next one is median reviews, the middle review. So of all the competitors out there for this product, what is the middle review? If that median middle review is really high, that's a greater risk for you. It's going to take longer for you to rank and get on the first page of search results. If it's lower, your opportunities are greater. So again, median reviews, each of these between 500 and 750 only gets 1 point. Between 350 and 500 gets 2. 200 and 350 gets 3, and between 100 and 200 it gets 4. You get the idea? So that's what I've done. Number of competitors, daily sales, Google Trends. I will send you this. But the idea is this. You can apply this principle to any decision you make, as well as when trying to choose a supplier. You create a chart. You list all the pros and all the cons, the opportunities and the risks. You tally them up, use your own point system, and decide which one has the greatest opportunity. And when you do that, the facts are telling you what to do instead of the emotions or the subjective feelings that may not be accurate to reality. When choosing the right product to sell, do not let your emotions lead you. Do what the numbers say. Charts like this help to remove the subjective emotional element, so you're letting the facts guide you. And this is important because when all is said and done, if the facts line up, if the data is right, you're going to succeed. Whether you like the product or not, you're going to succeed. That's why it's important that you don't let emotions guide you in this process, but you analyze it. Create a system with measurable data points, give each point a value, and then grade each product based on that, and then it's much easier to make a decision. Whatever you do, keep thinking, but do not stop acting. Acting is one of the most powerful motivators in the world for succeeding in anything. Don't keep thinking and analyzing, oh yeah, I'm going to go running someday. Oh yeah, I'm going to go running. Oh, tomorrow I'll do it. Oh, I'll be up to 5 miles soon. I used to do this when I was a kid. Actually, put on your jogging pants, go out the door and run. Keep acting. Oh, there's a risk. What if it rains? What if a car hits me? What if I fall and I fall in a puddle and I'm embarrassed or break my nose? Of course there's risks. There's risks getting up in the day. There's risks breathing air. There's risk eating food. I don't know if it's poisoned. There's always going to be risks. But you still eat. You still sleep. You still operate and live and make money and talk and laugh and everything else. So don't keep thinking about it. Do. And when you do, it'll spawn your thinking to think more and you'll get better. All right, this is Seth. Can you keep it real? I wish you an awesome day. Hope this has been helpful for you. And I will talk to you soon. Bye.